Story 1: The Attic Door. When I moved into my first house, it felt like a dream come true. It was a small two-bedroom terrace on the outskirts of Bristol. The estate agent had said it needed a little TLC, but I was just happy to finally have my own place. The first odd thing I noticed was the attic door. It was in the hallway ceiling, a small square of painted wood with a latch and no pull cord. The estate agent said it was probably just storage and hadn't been opened in years. The first week went smoothly enough, painting walls, unpacking boxes, ordering takeaways because I couldn't be bothered to cook. Then one night, I woke around 3 a.m. to a faint tapping sound. I thought it was coming from outside at first, but when I got up to check, the noise seemed to be in the hallway. Looking up, I saw the attic door. The tapping was coming from above it. Slow, rhythmic, like someone gently knocking on wood from the inside. I stood there, frozen, every hair on my arms standing on end. The sound stopped abruptly. I told myself it was just something settling. Old beams, maybe a bird trapped up there. The next morning, I borrowed a ladder from my neighbor. I was determined to check, just to put my mind at rest. When I pushed the attic door up, a wave of freezing air spilled out. The attic was empty except for one thing, an old wooden rocking chair in the middle of the floor, facing the hatch. It looked wrong up there, covered in dust but with clear drag marks in the dust behind it, like it had been moved. The space around it felt watched. I climbed down quickly, shoved the hatch closed, and bolted it. That night, I slept with the bedroom door locked. A week later, the knocking started again. Story 2: The Mirror. I was 26 when I bought a semi-detached house in a quiet village in Shropshire. The previous owner had left behind some furniture, which I planned to slowly get rid of. One of the pieces was an enormous antique mirror in the upstairs hallway. It was beautiful, ornate gold frame, thick old glass, but the glass had that slightly warped look, as if it had seen too much. The first time I noticed something strange was on a Sunday afternoon. I was walking upstairs with a basket of laundry when I glanced into the mirror and saw someone standing at the far end of the hallway. It wasn't me. I was in the middle of the hall. This figure was taller, dressed in something dark, their heads slightly bowed. I spun round. The hallway was empty. I laughed it off as a trick of the light, but after that, I started avoiding the mirror. It was hard, though. It dominated the wall, impossible not to catch in your peripheral vision. And that's when I realized something horrifying. My reflection didn't always match my movements. Sometimes, when I stopped walking, I'd catch the reflection of me taking one more step. Or my reflection's head would turn just slightly after mine had already moved. One night, I passed it in the dark and saw something I'll never forget. In the mirror, I was standing still, but my reflection was smiling. The next morning, I took the mirror down. It was so heavy it took all my strength to carry it into the garden. I smashed it with a hammer until nothing remained but shards. I thought that would be the end of it. But every so often, when I'm walking down that hallway, I see a flash like the glint of glass, out of the corner of my eye. And for a split second, I swear I see my reflection walking away from me. Story 3: The Neighbours. When my partner and I bought our first house, it was on a quiet new-build estate in Kent. All the houses looked identical: red brick, small front gardens, narrow driveways. We moved in during early spring. The couple next door, an older man and woman, seemed friendly enough. They brought us biscuits on our first evening and said, "If you need anything at all, just knock." But after that, they never seemed to leave the house. We'd hear their front door open in the middle of the night, then slam shut a few minutes later. Sometimes, I'd catch movement behind their curtains during the day, like they were watching the street. One night, around 1 a.m., I got up for a glass of water. As I passed the living room window, I saw the man standing in our front garden. He was facing the house, perfectly still, his hands by his sides. I opened the window a fraction and called his name softly. No reaction. Then, without a word, he turned and walked back to his house. The next day, I asked if he'd been outside the night before. He smiled faintly and said, "We just like to check on things." From then on, the visits became more frequent. Sometimes I'd wake to find both of them in the back garden, staring at the house. Sometimes they'd be there when I came home from work, not moving until I unlocked the door. We tried talking to them, but they'd just smile and change the subject. Then one night, we heard scratching at the back door. My partner went to look, but no one was there, except for a note pushed under the door. It said, "You don't belong here. You should leave before the others come." We moved out within a month. The estate agent didn't ask why, and I didn't tell them. But sometimes when I think about that house, I wonder, who were the others? Final thoughts. Buying a new house should be the start of a happy chapter. But sometimes, the walls hold secrets you can't paint over, and the neighbors aren't who they seem. If you're lucky, the worst thing you'll find is rising damp. If you're not, you might wish you'd never moved in.